Round 2 of the 2025 Formula 1 season takes us to Shanghai, China. The Shanghai International Circuit will host the second round of the Formula 1 World Championship. And just like we do before every single F1 race, we're going to take a look at the 5 drivers to keep a special eye out for this weekend. There's some really incredible stories up and down the grid as always, guys. So let's dive in with the 5 drivers I'm going to be paying special attention to this weekend. And we're going to start with Sir Lewis Hamilton. Unsurprisingly, Hamilton usually features in these. He's very rarely out of the news in Formula 1, and he's very much in it after what was a very disappointing performance, not only for him, but also for Ferrari as a whole after the Australian Grand Prix. However, historically, this is one of his best circuits in recent times. He has, of course, won here 6 times, which is 4 more times than anybody else has managed in the history of the Chinese Grand Prix, albeit he's not won since 2019, but at the same time, there's only ever been 1 Chinese Grand Prix since then in 2024, last year. So we'll see how Hamilton gets on. Like I said, this is a good track for him historically, but Ferrari will be very much hoping for a more regular weekend. The weather very much suggests it's going to be a more regular weekend, but also on top of that, at the same time, it's not going to rain either too. So let's see where Ferrari are, but there's a real case to be made that they're only the 4th fastest car on the grid. Let's talk about Ollie Bearman though. I mean, he would kill for the car that is 4th fastest on the grid. The Haas car after Australia very much looks like the firm back markers of the field. They seem to have replaced Sauber almost as that. They qualified on the back row. They finished dead last in the race as well, 13th and 14th, the last of the runners for Bearman and his teammate Esteban Ocon. Bearman, of course, crashed twice during practice, missed the other session as well in the run-up to that. And of course, this is a sprint weekend for China as well. So, on top of that, you've only got 1 practice session, unfortunately, in the entire weekend. So he's not going to have much time to get used to the car before he's thrown into sprint qualifying to have to qualify for the sprint race. So it's looking like it could well be another difficult weekend for Bearman. But at the end of the day, he has proven himself to be a very fast driver. So I'm optimistic that Ollie can get a good result. But points is seeming like a pipe dream even at that early stage. Points could well be on the cards for Sauber again. Of course, Nico Hülkenberg did excellently to get 7th place in the Australian Grand Prix. But I'm going to highlight his teammate here, Gabriel Bortoleto. Bortoleto out-qualified Hülkenberg in qualifying. He managed to get his Sauber through to Q2, something that very rarely happened at any point during last season with Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu. Bortoleto was running well until, unfortunately, we don't know whether it was a mechanical failure or he ended up losing that part of the car because he ran over the curbs. Either way, he was out of the race, but he was running well before that, and he probably would have got points if he had managed to stay in the race. Unfortunately, he didn't do that, but China last season was one of the best circuits for Sauber. Their car really seems to suit the very long, twisting right-hand corners that we have so many of around this track. So I'm optimistic they can be challengers for points, not only in the sprint, but also in the Grand Prix race on Sunday as well. So we could see some first points for the latest Brazilian to join the Formula 1 grid. Let's talk about Isaac Hadjar, though. He'll be hoping for points this weekend, and given the pace of his teammate Yuki Tsunoda in Australia and his own pace in qualifying as well, in fairness, there could be well on the cards for this. Unfortunately, they didn't manage to get any points. Tsunoda ended up finishing outside of the points due to not pitting at the correct time, and Isaac Hadjar didn't even make the start of the race thanks to spinning out on the formation lap. Now, since then, he has of course come under criticism from Helmut Marko, the senior advisor for the Red Bull organisation, but at the same time, a lot of people have criticised Marko, including myself, for his comments about Hadjar, which seemed very insensitive, to say the least. But Hadjar needs to collect himself and have a good weekend. He just needs a quiet weekend where hopefully he'll get points in the Racing Bulls, because they need to get points on the board. Their rivals Williams got a lot of points on the board thanks to Alex Albon's 5th place in Australia. Speaking of 5, let's go with the final of the 5 drivers I'm highlighting today, and it's Oscar Piastri. Now, I'm highlighting Piastri because, of course, really given the pace of the McLaren, he should have got 2nd place in Australia, and he comfortably would have done that, if not gone for the win as well, if it wasn't for the fact that he, of course, spun out when the rain started to fall about halfway through the race. Because of that, he finished in, where was he? 9th place at the end due to that, and that's a big deficit he's got to make up to his teammate Lando Norris. Now, Norris finished 2nd last season in the Chinese Grand Prix, so this is a good track for Norris. You could also argue it's a good track for McLaren as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how these two get on. But basically, we're going to watch out for Piastri because he's the guy who needs to make up the ground. He needs to make big moves in both the sprint and the Grand Prix race on Sunday as well. So I'm going to be keeping an eagle eye on the young Aussie for this as well. And you never know, he might get that first pole position in Formula 1 as well. But who are you going to be looking out for this weekend especially, guys? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, keep it tuned to the F1Chronicle.com to see much more content in the build-up to the Chinese Grand Prix. Plenty of reaction as well from the Australian Grand Prix as well. And I'm going to close my blinds because it is very, very sunny here. It's going to be sunny in Shanghai as well this weekend apparently too. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'll probably put some recent news story at the end of this video as well. So do check that out. I do appreciate it on the YouTube channel. If you're one of the other social platforms that you're checking this out on, just go to the channel, search up some content. There's plenty to go through. Hope you enjoy it. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more like this. And yeah, like I said, stay out of the sun. Don't get sunburned. It's very, very bright right now in the UK.